Wee man, you no sleeping yet? What's up with you? Can you no sleep?
Tell me about 9 in a row, Dad.
9 in a row? Well, son, it's like this.
For 30 years, a seemingly unbeatable record held by Celtic was written in the history books of Scottish football. 9 league championships in a row. To equal this seemed an impossible dream. That dream came true on the 7th of May at Tannadice.
It's Lowbra! It's a classic from Lowbra! Launched in field by Stevens, there's Butcher. Back with Wilkins. Absolutely magnificent from Ray Wilkins. Stevens. Johnston. And he scored! Walters wants to bring the ball down and take on Wright. Going for the early cross. There's Hayplay. It's a magnificent goal for Rangers! Has to get there in time. He did extremely well. The chance is on. The equaliser from Ian Durrant. Race here. Durrant with Galloway. Bit of wrestling there by Durrant, was that? Hayplay scores for Rangers!
Twice arriving, Laudrup's here as well. Still it's Laudrup. Great skills again by him! Oh, marvellous goal by Laudrup! It's been very evenly balanced. Here's Gascoigne now, pushing forward, showing great determination! Oh, he's done it again!
Victory had finally been won against tremendous odds, not least of which was the pressure on the team to succeed. In some people's eyes, failure would have made the previous season's titles worthless. This was keenly felt by all members of the squad.
We knew before this season that a lot of people said that if we didn't win the title this season, not 8 in a row would have been a failure. So I don't know whether that's true or not, but we were put under a lot of pressure, and we stood up and we have performed well, and finally we got there.
It would have been a tremendous disappointment, even on a personal basis, to have managed to, as a manager in my own right, win 5 championships in a row, add Graham's 3 onto that, and not to have achieved the 9 in a row, because having experienced the difficulties of getting to the 9, I was just delighted. Dundee United the other night there when we won it, and I think that there would have been a certain justification in feeling that if we hadn't done it, that the other ones would have been a bit of a waste of time.
The historic campaign began with a pre-season tour of Denmark. This brought together the current squad and helped familiarise new signings Georges Alberts and Joachim Bjorklund with the Ibrox regime.
Obviously, with the preliminary round, for the Champions League, you've only got about 3 or 4 weeks to get things right, which is actually it's impossible. Especially the first week is very important, for the new player to settle into, to play a couple of games with his new pals, and it's very, very difficult. But I mean, that's the way it is. It's the way it is for a favourite club, and you just have to live with that.
That part of the season is as important as any in terms of the togetherness of the team. We have the group together, and it's hard work, training morning and afternoon, and the games, and everybody at night time sitting and get to know each other is an important factor of the trip.
As part of that process, the team were taken on a half-day fishing trip, and Paul Gascoigne was expected to come out on top in the angling stakes.
Oh, look at this! Oh, look at this! Gussie, you beauty!
I enjoyed the fishing. I caught the first one, and I said to the guys that when we got it up, it was bigger than the ones we got last year, and it ended up being the smallest. Andy Gorham got a massive one. In fact, it looked a little bit like Dodgy. The cod that we brought up had the same sort of face. But the fishing, we had a good laugh, and it breaks up, the week.
It's the same one, Kirsty.
The main purpose of the tour was to prepare for the qualifying tie of the Champions League against Russian side Alanya Vladikavkaz. The pre-season trip proved to be successful in that respect when the teams met at Ibrox in August.
Comfortable away by Boxiev. Nice touch by Alberts, who runs onto the return from McCall. Goff's well forward here, joining the attack. In comes Goff! And Rangers get the equaliser! McInnes scores! Through by Cleland, this is Jury. Flipping it through. And McCoist at last! Ali McCoist for Rangers! 60 minutes gone, and Ali McCoist creates a new European record for Rangers. Here comes another one. Oh yes! Gordon Patrick scores for Rangers.
Again, Rangers qualified for the lucrative Champions League when they overwhelmed Alanya by 7-2 in Russia. But despite good performances against Auxerre, Ajax and Grasshoppers, they did not reach the final stages of the tournament.
We demolished the Russian side with 10-3 or something like that on aggregate, and people thought after that we could go on and win, the Champions League. And I think the expectations were perhaps at a higher level than we had expected, because you're playing against the very best, of teams in Europe. We were a wee bit unfortunate this season, I think, with a couple of games against Auxerre and Ajax at home. But hopefully we can get these games on our side, and then I think with a couple of years' time we can do better.
The Premier League began in earnest against Wraith Rovers at Ibrox, and after overcoming Clydebank in the Coca-Cola Cup, Rangers met league newcomers Dunfermline, giving them a taste of Major League football in true Rangers style.
Loudon turning away from Clark. Then Beam into the cross. Van Bossen calls the ball inside. Van Bossen. 1-0 to Rangers. Here's McCoist. Perfectly taken penalty. Here's Charlie Miller, looking for McCoist. 3-1 to Rangers.
No, it started fairly well, because I think I had 2 hat-tricks in the space of 2 games, got one in Vladikavkaz as well. I had a fairly good start to the season and scored the vast majority of my goals over the season, in the early part of the season. And with 1 or 2 wee injuries, I didn't get back in the side as often as I'd liked. But hopefully maybe next year I can start the same way, it'd be great. But I started fairly well, scored a few goals, and maybe got the campaign off to a good start.
Should you have played more?
Of course I should. Yeah, and I'll be telling him that as well. But no, he picks a team and he's entitled to do that. But obviously I want to play more, and I aim to play more.
Miller asserting himself more and more as the game goes on. Here's McCoy for his hat-trick. Magnificent finishing.
And I must admit that at the start I was really looking forward to it. I felt that our team, if anything, would be slightly better this season than the previous season. You always know that there's problems ahead for you. I was optimistic at the start of the year. The team got a really good result in the pre-qualifying round of the Champions League against Alanya Vladikavkaz, and that was setting us up for our league season. But certainly it didn't go quite as smoothly as I was hoped it might.
But all that was in the future, and the season continued where the last one left off, with one of the new signings making his impact on the Scottish game.
Through now for Gascoigne. Gascoigne again. Twisting and tapping. Brilliant goal by Paul Gascoigne.
That's good play. McCall played it in. What a goal by Jury. Gascoigne getting away from Weir. Gascoigne again, taking all the time in the world to score. Number 2. Russell comes here. McCoy retrieves. You'll want a shot at goal. You can be sure of that. And it's goal number 3.
Gascoigne for the equaliser. Through the middle, he's screaming for it. Good running by Gascoigne. The goalkeeper had left his line. He decides to stand up to him. Still it's Gascoigne. 2-1 to Rangers. There's a hag. Van Vossen just managed to stay onside. The goalkeeper's committed himself. It's number 4. That's a great finish.
Performances like that of Peter Van Vossen highlight the dilemma faced by today's managers when their squad has to be modified either due to injury or loss of form without affecting the morale of the whole team.
I think the morale part here is a fairly straightforward part for us. I think results help. We've managed to achieve good results, so that keeps your morale high. And then obviously there's the management part, when things don't go too well, how you handle the situations. But I think these are just things that maybe I've learned through a bit of experience. But morale at the club is important. We're fortunate here, we've had quite a few outgoing boys. McCoy and Durant have kept the dressing room going for a while. Paul Gascoigne's a bit of a joker as well. So we've had our fair share of jokers in the dressing room that keep the morale within the squad very high. And I think that's important. And that's, as a manager, we try and set the environment that the players have when they come into work. And I like to think at Rangers it's a good one. There's a lot of pressure in playing for Rangers, so we like to keep it fairly relaxed. But they all know that when they go onto the pitch, what's expected of them, and they've got to win.
The pressure to win is keenly felt by the players who are expected to be leaders and score goals for the club, especially when they must achieve consistent form at the highest level.
I come here, I try to do the business, I try to prove to everyone that I was back to my best, and I'd like to think I did that the second year. This year, for 9 in a row, I had bits of spells, off the field problems and a couple on the field. But it wasn't a problem. I scored 17 goals until I got the injury, which set me back a bit, and I just wanted another medal, another trophy.
Everyone at Ibrox knew that to win that trophy, they would have to overcome their biggest rivals, Celtic. Even in their first league encounter, observers were stressing the strength of the Parkhead challenge. But if Rangers won, they would move 5 points clear of their opponents.
Donnelly helps it on. Di Canio moves quickly to the wall. He's away from Petric. A chance for Celtic. Brilliant play by Di Canio. And it's turned away off the line by Petric. Laudrup looking for McCall. Good save by Marshall. And an excellent recovery there by Weghorst on Cleland. Terrific inventive play from the set piece from Rangers. Well, the problem really for Celtic would to get the ball out of the area for long enough to get some respite and put some pressure on Rangers. Here's Alberts. Van Bossen coming in from the left, which he does so well. Alberts. Splendid save by Marshall. Let's go for the header. A towering header from Richard Goff, and Rangers take the lead.
Just like any other goal, though. I mean, it's a really important goal, you know, for us this season. I've been quite fortunate this year. I think I've got 6, I think 5 league goals, which is my highest tally for a while in league games anyway. But it was an important goal for us. The first goal against Celtic's always a vital goal, and it was our first Old Firm game this year as well, which was important as well for us. So it set us up well.
This will test Celtic to the full. Here's Laudrup. On the far side is Gascoigne. He can now do some roaming up front because he shouldn't need to worry about too many defensive chores. Laudrup in behind Hughes. Oh, it's great play by Laudrup and the block made by Marshall. Gascoigne to Laudrup. That's for Alberts. Gascoigne wants it played early in the box. Here's Gascoigne.
It's funny because when I scored, because the shell was up and I says I was going out, and I had Ross Kemp up, a guy from EastEnders, Grant Mitchell, and I was going out. I said I don't know because we have to see if I win or not. I said if I lose then I was staying in, if I win we'll go out.
Here's Di Canio. Now Mike Namara, chance here for Celtic. John Hughes is there! It's off the crossbar! The Celtic players can't believe it, and Gascoigne might punish them now on the counter-attack. Celtic are filling the back. Laudrup, wide for Alberts. There's Gascoigne!
When I scored the header, I looked up the shell and that, and I was giving it, we're going out, we're going out. And that's what it's good for. It's good.
A finish with a flourish! After John Hughes hit the crossbar, Gascoigne led the counter-attack. And what about the finish? Rangers have won the first Old Firm match of the season. The gap at the top of the table goes to 5 points.
I think that the results between the two clubs were going to be a vital aspect of the season, and that's the way it turned out. I think the first game gave us a psychological edge because we had gone for a number of games without losing to Celtic, and when you win the first one of the new season, I think that gives you a big lift, and we managed to get a big lift from that game.
Apart from the pressures on the team to complete their 9th championship in a row, they were also striving to win the Coca-Cola League Cup, which would place all 3 Scottish trophies back in the Ibrox trophy room. In October, Rangers played their 4th game in 10 days when they travelled to Parkhead to meet Dunfermline in the semi-final. That emphatic 6-1 victory meant Rangers would play another cup final in 1996 against Hearts, but in the league their form was slipping, having drawn 2 matches against Aberdeen and Raith Rovers and losing away to Hibernian. This meant that when Rangers travelled to Celtic Park for their next Old Firm clash, the Parkhead side were sitting on top of the table due to a superior goal difference.
Yeah, they were, and I thought if they had beaten us, at that time, I think it would have been very difficult for Rangers to come back, because that would have given Celtic a psychological boost, obviously. But perhaps the best Old Firm clash I've been involved in. I thought it had everything. Fantastic to be involved in.
Well, Stuart Kerr, who was 22 years old yesterday, has come into the side recently, and he's actually a pupil of the goalkeeper at the other end, Andy Govan. They were together at Hibs when Govan was the senior player. Kerr was just a junior on schoolboy forms, but Andy Govan has broken Celtic hearts in the past, and what an occasion for him to find his fitness and come back after this hip problem.
It was quite an incredible match, that one. It was a really open game. It was one that flowing from end to end. I think that the tension showed in the way the game was played that day. The desperation from Celtic's point of view to try and overcome us after losing the first game at Ibrox. Celtic pushing us all the way, and us more or less playing on a breakaway, and playing successfully on a breakaway until it came to the actual finish. So it was quite an incredible game, that one.
Header by Grant was a good one. This is Stubbs trying to clip it across. Yeah. It clocked into Gorham's grateful grasp. There's a slip by O'Neill, and Laudrup's away, and Rangers look for a goal and get one! In the 8th minute from Brian Laudrup.
That brilliant solo goal from Brian Laudrup heralded one of the most dramatic Old Firm clashes of recent times. Celtic had everything to play for as league leaders, but they had to contend with the legendary Rangers fighting spirit.
Here's McNamara. Oh, and Weghorst is in here for Celtic. And one Dane had scored at one end, and the other had a great opportunity to equalise at the other. Louder. Elusive again. Gascoigne trying to keep pace in the centre. Alberts has got forward as well. It's Alberts. He doesn't really seem to be disguising his intentions. And Gorham got to it with outstretched arms and strong fists. Well, I can't think of anywhere else in the world where you see football played with this passion. But hang on, they've given the ball to Laudrup, and Rangers are in again. And Laudrup denied by Kerr this time. Well played, the young goalkeeper. McInnes. Here's Cleland. Gascoigne took that beautifully. The pass for Laudrup. Kerr comes off his line. Penalty. 20 minutes to go. Gascoigne steps up, and Kerr has saved a Paul Gascoigne penalty. The goalkeeper who gave away the penalty has made up for his mistake, but he's in the firing line again, and this is Alberts, clean in.
That game there was probably had as much drama as any other, and apart from that, we contrived to miss some unbelievable chances in the latter stages of the game that would have sealed the result and saved us sweating out the last few minutes of the game.
Gascoigne's already had his penalty saved for Rangers. It's Pierre van Hooijdonk to keep his nerve for Celtic and keep them top of the table. And Gorham has matched Kerr's achievement. This game's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
The victory had put Rangers back in their traditional position at the top of the league, but the squad already knew that it would be one of the last Old Firm games for their captain, Richard Gough, who had announced that after 10 years at the club, he would be leaving Ibrox to play for US team Kansas City Wizards.
I thought I'd be 35 in April, and I feel now it's maybe just time to play at maybe a lesser level, really. I mean, I'm very honoured to think that people say that I could still, play for another season. But I feel the time's right for me. you know, and my family. I've had 10 great years at the club, and I don't want to spoil anything. I've always said that I would love to leave on my terms when I'm playing well.
The philosophy of putting the club before himself has been only one of the many facets of Rangers' most successful captain. Since coming to Ibrox in 1987, as Scotland's first £1 million player, he's been an invaluable asset to the team, both on the field and off.
Ferguson playing it wide for Durant. Rogan comes to meet him. Oh, that's good running by Durant. He's away from Rogan. The other ball inside. McCarthy did well with the header, but it's Durant again. The last chance perhaps for Rangers. The chance is on for Goff. Richard Goff makes it 2 apiece. And the final minute of the match. What incredible drama here at Ibrox.
His decision to announce that he would be leaving was made in October, to allow the manager as much time as possible to find his replacement. But the news came as a shock to many fans, who regard him as one of Rangers' all-time greatest players.
Oh, Richard Goff has been the captain of Rangers in 6 years, and I've been the manager here. And we were going to have a tough job replacing Terry Butcher, who led the club in the early parts there for 9 in a row seasons. And Richard was always the person that was going to do that. And when he stepped into Terry's shoes, he, without a doubt, went on to be one of the most successful ever Rangers captains in terms of the amount of trophies and success that the club's achieved.
Richard's record speaks for itself. In his 10-year career at Ibrox, he's amassed 9 league titles and, as captain, led the side to 3 Scottish Cups and 4 League Cups. His influence on the team is immeasurable.
Chance for Van Hooydonk. Great tackle by Goff. Right at the last seconds.
He's a rock, you know, in defence. Tremendous. He was a great skipper, great attitude. He always had the hunger and desire to win. And I think a lot of that's rubbed off in a lot of the players.
Great respect for Richard. He basically took me under his wing when I first come. Obviously very understanding about the situation. I feel I was in the same situation when he came over as a young boy. You know, he's come a long way without his family. So he's helped me tremendously, and I think as a centre half, a young player to model your game on Richard Goff, I don't think if you can do that, you will not go wrong.
It's Goff for the header. A towering header from Richard Goff, and Rangers take the lead.
I don't know if anyone can follow that. I'm going to be some man to follow that, put it that way. The guy he's been a legend. He was brilliant at Spurs, and he's been a legend, yeah.
Richard was determined not to let down the Rangers fans and decided to leave while still at the top of his form, realising that the club will continue to improve without him.
Knowing Walter Smith like I do, you know, when my form does start to go down, which it obviously will do with age, I don't think he would find it easy, you know, to leave me out of the team. And I think, you know, maybe I've made a decision for him. You know, it's old saying, you know, I'm maybe jumping before I'm pushed. Maybe who knows, in 6 months' time, a year's time, or whatever. You know, there's one thing I know that I think, you know, I'll miss Glasgow Rangers a lot more than Glasgow Rangers will miss me. And you know, all players are replaced. There's no player that's not replaceable, and I'm definitely, you know, in that category as well.
People at times just look at the captain and say that he just goes out, tosses a coin. But Richard Goff was a good influence throughout the club. He was a terrific trainer. He was a winner. He helped other people whenever they were struggling. He was up helping them. Most of all, he helped the team. Most of all, he helped me. It's always important to have a good rapport with your captain, and I fortunately had one with him. And I was disappointed when he made the decision that he would like to leave the club and go to America, but he went with everybody's best wishes, especially mine.
The superlatives that could be applied to Richard Gough would be almost never-ending, but as far as Rangers players and supporters are concerned, he has rightly earned his place in the Ibrox Hall of Fame. However, Richard Gough's honours were not yet over. Rangers met Hearts in the Coca-Cola Cup final at Parkhead in November. It was the second final between the two sides in 6 months. And Ali McCoist was not only looking for 2 goals to equal Jim Forrest's League Cup record, but was hoping to win his 9th medal in the competition.
Great footwork again from Gascoigne. Laudrup away from Ritchie. McCoist. 1-0 to Rangers. McCoist does it again. McCoist wants the ball played long. Delivered as requested. Great save by Rousset. Up goes Petrich. Chance on there for Moore. It's played in by McCoist. Playing it in for Fulton. Great goal by Fulton! The Coca-Cola Cup final has come alive!
That fight back caused some frustration on the field. But did the fireworks continue into the half-time dressing room?
No, not at all. Just a little bit. But you know, it's, sometimes you need that. It's just unfortunate the gaffer gives it every game. Half-time and full-time.
Our place was not great because Mr. Gascoigne and I were exchanging words on the park at just prior to half-time. So we sorted out amicably in the dressing room at half-time. At least that's what I'm telling you anyway.
Me and Cosy had a little kiss and cuddle half-time, and we'll come out and obviously I popped a couple in, so I was pleased with that.
But Hearts were still a force to be reckoned with and equalised in the 59th minute.
Oh, it's great play again by McCann! Robertson for Hearts!
Hearts played very well in the game, and okay, we were 2-0 up, and then I think we had a little bit relaxed the game, and they scored for the halftime 2-1, and it was quite hard for us then, and it was a hard game, but I told you when we are concentrate, and we did it in the last 20 minutes in the game. We are the better team then, and no one can beat us then.
We're under a lot more pressure than we were last year. I think they were a wee bit embarrassed at what happened last time. We played very well and gave them a bit of a doing 5-1, which would have dented their pride, and we knew that it wasn't going to be that easy again. And it proved so. But at 2-0 up, we thought we'd done it. And they gave us a wee fright by coming back, and then they've equalised. So it was, to be fair, they all said it was a great comeback by Hearts. But it's an even better comeback by Rangers to go and win it 4-2, 4-3.
As Gascoigne breaks into a shooting position. He's done it! Well, can Hearts come back again? Here's Gascoigne once more. Oh, he's done it again! It's a remarkable play by Gascoigne! He's won the cup without question for Rangers.
Winning the Coca-Cola Cup again put all three domestic trophies back in the Ibrox trophy room. On returning to Ibrox, the new signings who'd already won their first medals were given their singing additions by Archie Knox.
But here and the Bluebells are blue.
Back in the race for the league, things were hotting up. As Rangers prepared to play third-placed Aberdeen at Pittodrie, Celtic were only 1 point behind. December would be a punishing part of the season, with 9 matches in the month. This period has proved to be crucial in past campaigns.
So Alberts is lining up here. Gascoigne's there as well. Goff is pushed forward. It's Alberts! Fantastic shot from George Alberts. Rangers now have a bit between their teeth. It's Laudrup. McKimmy's with him. There's Robertson. It's a goal for Rangers. Wari sends it in. It's easily headed away though by David Robertson. Touched by McKimmy. It's not a good one. It's picked up by Charlie Miller. Laudrup starts a run through the middle. Wari's here. The goalkeeper's committed himself. This surely must be a goal. Brilliant finish by Laudrup. That ties it all up. So it's been an unhappy afternoon for Aberdeen in more ways than one. And here come Rangers again. It's McCoist. And it's all finished off nicely by Charlie Miller.
1 week later, when Rangers met Hibs, they had 11 players unavailable through injury, which meant a league debut for Scott Wilson. Ali McCoist was again in the spotlight as he sought to beat yet another record. This time it was Gordon Wallace's post-war league tally of 264 goals. However, Hibs had already inflicted the only league defeat this season and began the match in defiant mood.
Harper playing that through for Darren Jackson. A great chance for Hibs. Jackson against Gorham, beating the keeper. That's right. It's a brilliant goal from Hibs. Good running by Wilson. Ferguson. The equaliser for Rangers. In goes Jackson. 2-1 to Hibs. Gascoigne plates it in again. The pressure remains on the Hibs defence. Laudrup. Outside him is Moore. Laudrup again. Queuing up in the centre. Came from McCoist. There's Laudrup. Now Gascoigne. Still in possession. It's there. It's McCoist. Into in front. The record breaker is McCoist. Laudrup goes inside again. He has Anderson waiting in the middle with McCoist. Anderson. Laudrup again. He's onside. Genius again from Laudrup.
We had a very important spell in December, but simply because of the amount of matches that we had to play, and I felt that that would lead to a struggle for us, especially the amount of football that was being played. But we handled that situation very well, and actually it turned out to be a really positive period for us.
Despite losing to Dundee United, December put Rangers on a roll for the championship when they scored 22 goals in 7 matches. That run of results was the perfect preparation for the clash against Celtic on the 2nd of January. However, a flu epidemic had claimed Richard Gough and Brian Laudrup, and Paul Gascoigne was doubtful until the last minute. Alan McLaren was making his first Old Firm appearance this season after a 5-month layoff. However, Celtic had not won a New Year fixture for 8 years, and Rangers were determined to make it 9.
With so many attacking instincts coming from the left side. So got a free kick. Albert's gone here with a genuine reputation as a set-piece specialist. The Celtics wall is 5 strong. But Albert gets it through! The hammer has torn Celtic apart.
You won't see my free kicks hit any harder than that. That was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
2-1 to the right for Rangers. And Collins gets past O'Donnell. Craig Moore can go on here. Canio. Earlier ball this time, Van Hooydonk! Good stop by Govan, it was a terrific header.
Celtic fought back and levelled the score through a Di Canio goal. Then, with only 15 minutes remaining, Walter Smith made an inspirational substitution when he brought on Erik Bo Anderson. It would prove to be a momentous decision.
It looks like Hannah's gone into the back line. It has, yeah. Well, here's Albert, and here's Allison! Rangers back in front, 7 minutes to go. Suicide for Celtic. There's another break on here. Can Rangers really wrap it up? It's Erik Bo Anderson again. A sensational appearance from the substitute. Well, Rangers have done it again.
Although not a title decider, the Ibrox fans felt they already knew how the season would end. A 2-1 win against Hibs 2 days later in the Premier League meant that Rangers had created a 14-point lead over the festive period. It was an impressive performance, having scored 17 goals and conceded only 5. Success for the club continued off the park when David Murray sold 25% of his shares to businessman Joe Lewis, giving the club a financial boost of £40 million. The funds will help to buy players and provide a new training facility. A new Rangers superstore opened, selling the 1873 brand, which will allow fans to buy direct from the club, again helping to purchase new players. A hotline was set up for fans, giving them a further opportunity to support the club. You can order directly from the store by calling 0990 991 997.
The supporters are the whole base of this club. It's all very well me having fanciful ideas, but if I don't have them on side with me, nothing happens. And fortunately, we've had a good relationship, the supporters and myself, and I honestly believe they think that at all times, they genuinely agree with what I'm doing. Not always, they're sometimes a wee bit fickle, like we all are sometimes, but I think without the supporters, there's nothing. But I know the majority of our fans are going to buy a Rangers strip, going to buy some Rangers goods. I'm just saying, please buy it from Rangers. We've got sporting goods going on the stock market. They're going on the stock market on you, the Rangers supporters and other supporters, buying goods to no benefit of your club. I'm not asking you to pay anything extra or pay anything more. I'm just saying, look, buy direct, support the club, and we'll use that money wisely, as I think we've done in the past.
There were sad events during the season. Scout Archie Laurie died after many years' service to the club, bringing several talents to professional football, the best known of which was 9 in a row hero Ian Durrant. Also, in January this year, ex-captain George Young died. The legendary centre-half made 792 appearances for Rangers and was capped 53 times, 48 as captain. He won 6 league championships, 4 Scottish Cups and 2 League Cups. He was a great example of a true Rangers legend. While Rangers were on the tour of Denmark, they were very saddened to hear of the death of ex-manager Jock Wallace. Jock was manager of the club twice and led them to the treble in 1975-76 and 77-78. He was still a regular visitor at the stadium from his home in Spain and will be very sadly missed.
You can't say much more about the big man apart from his brilliant. That's it. And that's all. Guy was different class. That's nothing else I really can say. It's a sad day, very sad day.
At the end of the season, 2 huge video screens were installed, which will allow fans to watch European and away games at Ibrox. Next season, Radio Rangers will be set up as another service to the supporters. Walter Smith again entered the transfer market when he made 4 new signings. Swedish skipper Jonas Tern from Roma, Australian defender Tony Vidmar was signed from Dutch side NAC Breda, 19-year-old Italian striker Rino Gattuso from Perugia, and Chilean Sebastian Rosenthal, who was signed for £4 million.
The Rangers now are getting ready to send on the new £4 million man, Sebastian Rosenthal.
The Rangers fans gave him a tremendous welcome when he came on as substitute in the tie against Motherwell. Earlier in a fiery match, the combination of Gascoigne and Alberts was decisive, but it was Andy Gorham who again proved his worth to the Ibrox side.
So the pass leaves a lot to be desired. It's gifted to Gascoigne. Rangers can capitalise here. It's through now for George Alberts, who's onside. Rangers take the lead. Martin's up there as well. Oh, it's a fantastic save by Andy Gorham from Sean skimming. A quite fantastic save by Andy Gorham. Here's Rosenthal playing it through. Here's Laudrup surging forward. Gascoigne's through the middle. Alberts is away as well. Good ball by Laudrup. Gascoigne's calling for it in the middle. It's a tap in. That ties it all up.
Some performances this season have been outstanding, and although teamwork is essential, one player has again stood out for his sheer skill and ability.
To be fair to Laudrup, he was out of this world for the whole season. He's a wonderfully talented player. He's a very popular lad in the dressing room, and he turned in some superb performances. Just a joy to play with.
Due to the chronic injury list this season, Brian has been put under even greater pressure to perform. But Walter Smith was confident that he would cope with the responsibility.
I don't think that he finds that a great pressure. I think when people watch him play, they realise how good a footballer he is. But they don't see that behind that there's a lot of determination to win, and he likes winning, and he's got a winner's attitude. And I don't think he would ever look upon that as being a pressure. He would look upon it as being a challenge. And this season he's accepted that challenge. And for me, he's had his best season at the club.
Laudrup. Trying to get a run going here. They'll have a goal. Superb goal by Brian Laudrup.
Brian himself was very aware of how losing key players may affect the campaign to win the title. In particular, Paul Gascoigne, who was injured for 10 matches.
He's been out for a long time, and I think it was very important for the team to show that even without, you know, one of the most influential players, that we could go on and win the league, and we've done that. We played in a different manner, perhaps. But I've always said, even without, you know, players like Richard Goff, Andy Gorham, Stuart McCall and Paul Gascoigne, you still, at a club like this, have to replace them. And you must have players who can replace them. And I think we have shown that.
Ferguson gets it away. It's a good one for Laudrup. Jury starts a run. Alex Laudrup getting away there from Den Beeman. He can finish himself. What a fabulous goal by Laudrup.
It's hard to describe the significance to Rangers fans the world over of winning 9 championships in a row. Some have waited since the 1960s to equal Celtic's record. Privately, some may have thought it impossible. Again this year, Celtic were the only team who could stop Rangers. The most crucial game of the season, and possibly the club's history, was to be played on the 16th of March at Parkhead. Rangers had never beaten Celtic 4 times in the Premier League before. Leading up to the game, Celtic had lost to Kilmarnock, and Rangers had lost at home to Dundee United. 10 days before, Celtic knocked them out of the Scottish Cup. Richard Goff was struggling against injury to play. Paul Gascoigne was also out. Gordon Jury was rushed to hospital with appendicitis. The injured Andy Gorham was replaced by new signing Andy Dibble. And in a desperate move, Walter Smith had re-signed Mark Hateley from Queen's Park Rangers.
At one stage, a staff of 58 players, we had 34 players injured. That's first team players, reserves and apprentices. We had 34 players injured, including things like the appendicitis that you were talking about with Gordon Jury. So we were pressed into action there, and it was a bit of panic going on at certain stages till we got ourselves to bring Andy Dibble in when Andy Gorham then Theo Snelders got injured, so we had to get Andy Dibble on loan. We had to bring Mark Hateley back, and we had to fill in and to cover for all these things. The players that were left had to show a great deal of determination and to overcome the problems.
Despite everything, the fans were confident their team would win through.
No, obviously the tension's getting to everyone for the 9 in a row. 25 years we've waited for this day. I don't think the team will let us down.
Well, I think it's going to be a really big week for the club. I think we'll need to dig deep today, and I think we'll do it today.
Well, with the striker situation being as it is, he had to bring someone in between now and the end of the season, and Hateley's tried and tested in both Old Firm games and Premier League matches, so why go for someone who's inexperienced?
If the Rangers win, we'll celebrate, because there's no way back for Celtic. If we win today, absolutely no way back.
Possibly more than at any other time, the supporters and the players were bound together in one cause. Victory would almost assure them of success.
The pressure was quite bad, for the reason being the press hyped it up so much, and Celtic had beaten us in the Cup the week before. And to bring Mark Hateley back, I thought was one of the best signings Walter's made, because every team in Scotland, you know, practically scared of Big Mark for terrorises him, you know, and it was a shrewd signing.
Archie Knox said before the game that I don't want to put you under a lot of pressure, but this game is the most important game in the club's history. So take that or leave it, he said, you know, and we went out there and we lived up to the expectations. I thought, you know, we did the job on the day, and perhaps especially that game was the game where we won the championship.
Well, the Old Firm have clashed hundreds of times in their 100 years conflict, but has any stirred the emotions quite like this one?
Richard Goff was making his final appearance in an Old Firm match, but right up to the last minute, people were asking if he was fit for such an important game.
In hindsight, no. But before the game, I thought yes. But it was a game I wasn't going to miss, even before the game. If I thought I was maybe only 50%, 60% fit, it was a game that I wanted to play in. You know, I said to the manager before the game that obviously he wanted me to play, especially with losing the cup game. You know, even though we lost, if I'd been playing and we'd lost, then I would have felt better than I did do sitting in the stand and, you know, not having anything to do with it. So I always thought in the league game, as long as I play, even if we lose, and at least I'll know that my destiny has been in some way in my own hands as well. And that's what I wanted more than anything. I wanted to play, and if we lost, so be it. And at least I was out there.
Easily dispossessed there. Rangers got a cluster of players around him. Now it's Laudrup trying to open up the Celtic defence. Good ball through now for Alberts. Away to the far side looking for Haitley.
I think anybody that pulls a jersey on for Rangers automatically becomes a supporter, and that was the case for me. I think the town, the people, everybody gets underneath your skin, and really, as I say, that the body left, but the spirit and the heart was always here.
Now it's Alberts for Rangers. Ferguson. Durant. Fellens away wide right. Fellens plays it through. It's a good ball. It finds Craig Moore. And it's away behind by Anoni. Well, Haitley was looking in the middle. He decided to make a run to the near side. And here's Paul McStay, the Celtic skipper, through now for Di Canio. Cadet's just ahead of him. Still it's Cadet. The goalkeeper does well. But what an intense battle this has been. It's Di Canio! There's Durant coming through, and the goalkeeper's off his line. Rangers sensationally take the lead. What a match the Celtic defence got into there. It was Haitley with Anoni. They got the merest touch on it, and then Stubbs headed it into the path of Durant. The goalkeeper had already left his line. Malky Mackay had the chance to clear. So Celtic hope to take this opportunity. Good blocking challenge by Richard Goff. Come flying out there against Stubbs. And it's Ian Durant again back doing some defending as the half-time whistle sounds.
And there's a lot of tension. There was a lot of tension in the 4 Celtic games this season, but none more so than the one at Parkhead, because we managed to win the previous 3, so there was big pressure on Celtic, and we ourselves knew that losing the match would bring Celtic within 2 points of us, and as I say, I think give them the big psychological lift. So it was a huge game for us, and you could sense that within the dressing room.
Albert's trying to pick out Laudrup. Oh, it's a mistake now by Anoni. Defensively, Celtic are not having a good afternoon. They could be punished again. The goalkeeper's committed himself. Laudrup has it.
In such an atmosphere, the pressure on both sides was intense. In the 67th minute, it boiled over, and Rangers were down to 10 men after Mark Hateley was sent off.
Mark Hateley, who was on and off at this very ground in a Scottish Cup tie some 6 years ago, is off the field. It's away by Mackay. Touch on by Di Canio. The piece of Cadet could pay off here. Good sliding challenge went in. It was Bjorklund who made it. This is Hannah McNamara. The assistant referee is lifting his flag. Put it down again. It's going to be another controversial moment. It's Bjorklund, of all people, breaking forward. Here's Alberts. Again, Celtic push everyone forward. They don't have the height though to worry the Rangers defence. The final whistle sounds, and that wraps it up for Rangers. The fans celebrate.
There was great celebration by fans and players alike after that victory, but despite the joy, Rangers still had to put the title beyond doubt. However, they faltered and lost 2-1 to Kilmarnock at home. The next step on the journey was against Dunfermline, when Hateley scored in his first game back at Ibrox.
It's well won by Loudrup. Oh, terrific play by Loudrup. He may go all the way himself here. There's Judy coming to the right. That's for Hateley. Could this be the goal the Rangers fans want to see? Indeed it is!
Nothing changes there. It's great stuff. Now playing with great players and makes my life easy. Absolutely missing it. Yeah, family's been missing it. Wee boy's been missing it. He's up there screaming his head off, I would imagine. I said I'd score today. I did.
After overcoming Wraith Rovers 6-0, a game which saw the return of Paul Gascoigne, a massive party was planned for the last home match of the season, but Walter Smith still wouldn't claim the title for Rangers.
We won 6-0 at Wraith Rovers, and that gave us a fair goal difference between ourselves and Celtic, and it gave us a 9-point gap with 3 games to play. So everybody was telling everybody that Rangers were champions and that we had won 9 in a row. And I know that people, when they were listening to me stating that nothing was won and we still had to get the point there, and people were saying, oh, managers, they just say that anyway, trying to keep an edge on their players. But I genuinely felt that was the case, that we still had a bit to do, and you could never take anything for granted. I was worried about us getting into the game, and Motherwell themselves desperate for the points to try and stay out the playoff place, and I felt that we were on the right getting into that game.
The defeat against Motherwell increased the pressure to succeed at Tannadice. Rangers only needed a draw to make history.
Archie and I were both looking forward to the start of the game. We had a huge disappointment in losing at home to Motherwell on the Monday, and we got a chance to atone for it. And I could tell by the mood in the dressing room that the players themselves were far more up for the game than even they were for the Motherwell game. We had got a wee fright there, and having to play Monday, Wednesday and then a Saturday again, we knew that our second chance to clinch it, that we couldn't throw away.
We didn't want to win it on Celtic drawing or getting beat. We wanted to do it on our own backs. And I think the Motherwell game, when everyone was coming through with champagne and organising this and organising that, what we're going to do when we're winning that, I think that's why we got beat. This game, there was no champagne, there was no beer, there was nothing. It was just like a war, and we went out there and we're doing the business.
McKimmie supporting the header, he's just played towards Olofsson. Good running by McSwiggan, he's quick enough. Chance now to be played in by McKimmie, it's too high for McLaren. Good defending by McLaren.
I mean, I played for Newcastle, Tottenham, Lazio in England, and in the World Cup 1990. And I mean, I played in the semi-final of the World Cup, and I didn't feel any nerves, no pressure, no nothing. And last night was just incredible.
McInally doing the closing down job, which he does so well for Dundee United. Miller's cross, a good one, that hits Laudrup! It's a classic from Laudrup! 11 minutes of the first half gone. Laudrup brings his stadium alight with a glorious goal.
When the final whistle blew, it heralded amazing scenes of celebration both on and off the pitch. It was the culmination of not only an incredible season, but an historic run of 9 championships in a row.
The moment belongs to Rangers.
The feeling at the end of the game there was one of relief. When you see the jubilation in Brian Loudwick's face there, and the reaction of everybody in the dugout, Paul Gascoigne joining Archie and myself there, that was without a doubt one of relief. And I think that what people forget is that although we had won championships, 8 of them previously, it was this group of players that were left with the pressure of having to get the 9th one. And I think that showed in everybody's reaction at the end. We were absolutely delighted to have done it, and it was a pressure off us, and it was something that I'll never forget, is that reaction at the final whistle. The instant feeling was one of relief, and then after a wee while, just the sheer joy of having done it and knowing how much it meant for every Rangers supporter to get that 9 in a row and equal Celtic's achievement. And the last few minutes of that were fantastic, and it's something that I'll never forget.
Even though I'm a foreigner, I knew the importance of this season. I knew what it meant to a lot of people, and I've felt the pressure for the first time really this season. You know, to perform well, especially when we had 5 or 6 injuries of some of our best players. I felt that a lot of people were looking to me to perform, and that's not always easy. But so I felt really, especially in the last game where I scored, the goal which clinched the title, a relief, and that I think that was one of the reasons why I enjoyed that goal more than anything else. And it was a headed goal as well, which is quite not that common, for a player like myself. So that was incredible.
The joy in the dressing room proved how important this season had been to the squad. They had finally reached their goal, only now could they celebrate at last. It was a particularly poignant time for Richard Goff.
Character show by the team, like I said, was fantastic, and I'm just so happy for everyone, all the players, all the supporters, and I'm pleased for myself as well, just finishing on a high and go away now with 9 titles away, and that's fantastic. These moments won't be forgotten by everyone, and the boys are legends now. So you can say that, they're legends, 9 in a row. It was fantastic.
The presentation, the League Championship trophy to Richard Goff of Rangers.
It was a very emotional time for everybody, probably more so by Goff, because he said obviously he's away to Kansas now, and it'd be a mixed up time for him, because he's been a tremendous servant to Rangers Football Club. He's been a wonderful player and a wonderful captain, and I think he was probably reflecting on the previous years, and it was a little bit of sadness for him, I'd imagine. Yeah.
I'm sad to see Richard go. I've been here for the 9 years with Richard, and I must admit I had a wee lump in my throat last night for him. And it was nice to see him, even though he was injured, it was nice to see him go up and pick the cup up. It was quite a special moment for him.
Despite the sadness felt by many over Richard's departure, the significance of the achievement was only now beginning to sink in with players and supporters.
It was an emotional night, really it was, because when the final whistle went, I was thinking about the teams that I played with, and to start off the 9, guys like Chris Woods and Terry Butcher and Davy Cooper, and thinking about all these guys, Wilkins, Harlock. And then you're thinking of the future, and some of the young lads come into the team. So it was quite an emotional time and a mixed up time, if you like, but a great, tremendous feeling.
It was brilliant. I was in the stand with the punters, and it was incredible. I've got a big friend, Andy Smiley, and he's followed Rangers through the bad times, right up to the good times, and to see his face, it was. I asked him, did he ever think he would see it in his time? We'd get 9 in a row, and I think he had a wee tear in his eye. It was something special.
The party was already underway as the squad left Paradise with the League Championship trophy once again in their grasp.
stand up, knees bent, Arucha-cha, Arucha-cha, Arucha-cha-cha, Arucha-cha, Arucha-cha, Arucha-cha-cha. I'm singing, I'm singing, for God is
I made a run, right, I give it to Duke, and I says, Duke, I swear to square it, and he didn't. I went, Duke, I've just run all the way, I feel a bit tired now. We went, Gaff, I get him off, he's tired. Well, no, I just didn't want Derek McKinnon to come on. Like, yeah, all right, you got his 3 minutes to get yourself the medal.
When the bus reached Glasgow in the early hours of the morning, the players were amazed to find George Square full of joyous supporters. The return to Ibrox South was even greater, as thousands of fans had waited for over 4 hours just to welcome home their victorious heroes. That night began days of celebration for every Rangers supporter, the highlight of which was when the team were flown in by helicopter from their final match at Tynecastle to an Ibrox packed with 30,000 fans. The whole day was emotionally charged for both players and supporters. The party that started there will be remembered for many years to come.
Coming back to Ibrox after the Hearts game, it was memorable for the simple reason that we missed out on the celebration at our own stadium by losing against Motherwell on the Monday. Atoned for that on the Wednesday at Tannadice. And then when we came back from Tynecastle and we saw the numbers of people that had turned up to watch the game on the TV screen, to celebrate the 9 in a row, it was fantastic for all the players and myself to go out there and be involved in that, because we thought we had missed an opportunity to show the supporters our appreciation. It also gave the players an opportunity to take the plaudits that they deserve for having handled the pressure in 9 in a row.
This season, Rangers were faced with their most important challenge in many years. They faced it with determination, skill and courage, and were victorious. Season 1996-97 has made everyone at the club a legend.
I've been at the Rangers for 11 years now, and Rangers supporters have stayed behind their team for that 11 years. I've managed this season to make it 9 in a row. I would like to thank all the players for their part in that. I would like to thank all you supporters for your backing. On a personal basis, I would like to thank David Murray for his backing. Not only for myself, but for everybody at Rangers. A lot of things are said about people that own football clubs, and I can assure you that David Murray only wants Rangers to win. Let's make it 10 in a row.
It's getting better.
Is it V-Day again? We'll meet again.
Oh.
Don't know where,
Will
don't
you
know
shut
where.
up, Mother?
I'm 186, you know.
Mummy, one's team has won one's league championship.
Hello, hello, 9 in a row, hello.
How does Lord Walter of Ibrox sound, dear? There's a nice ring to it, don't you think?
Swing low, sweet chariot, gathered here for 10 in a row.
My husband and I would like to congratulate David, Murray, Walter and the boys on this joyous occasion. 9 trophies all at once. Well done, chaps. Now, is Gazza ready for his rub-down?
Oh, could one get Brian's autograph? I'm 317, you know.
No, we can't get it.
Chippy-Oody. Oh, a signed photograph of David Dodds will do then.
Oh.
At 1,873, you know.
Oh, be quiet. Oh. Yes, he is very old, you know. She can remember when Rangers last didn't win the league. Today is a celebration. 9 league championships in a row, which is particularly close to 10. All that remains for me to say is, we'll make it 10. We know where, we know when.
And I knew